You are watching Fan Facts.
Hey everybody, I'm Damien.
I'm Phil.
And this is Fan Facts. Fan fact number 1. Last play proves Pickett is better without Canada.
You know, this is going to kill me, Damien. I hate to do this. I really hate to do this, but I recognize Pickett called the audible with for Pickens to run the hot route. I got to give Matt Canada credit. I hate doing it. I hate to do this, Steelers Nation. I hate to do this, but I have to. This man called the right play at the right time. Now, with that said, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every so often.
You know, Phil, for once I have to agree with you. And I'm sorry, Steelers Nation, but that play was more about Canada than it was about Pickens. Or Pickett. Yeah, of course, Pickett, called the audible, but the audible's in there. You know? They all saw the matchup.
Yeah.
And, there's a reason that he was able to call the audible.
Exactly.
I hate to say this, but if I look back on it, Canada put them in the position to call the play, to get that touchdown, to secure the victory. And I think that part of the problem Steelers Nation has with this is we don't want to give Matt Canada any credit.
And that's the thing. It's, again, I've done it with Mike Tomlin. Y'all know how I feel about Mike Tomlin. But when Mike Tomlin does something good, I give the guy credit. Yeah. It's what we have to do. Yes, I agree. Canada couldn't beat my 5-year-old nephews at Madden. It was like a saw trap watching the Steelers win because I know we were going to keep Canada. But I know that he did the right thing, he called the right play, and we won the game.
Yeah, I can't argue with it. I got to give props to Canada on that. And, is it a different take? It might be, but I think it's the right take.
I'm sure we'll hear about it.
Yeah, we'll hear about it. Fan fact number 2. Highsmith makes Mr. TJ Watt better.
Here's the deal. It's pick your poison with those two. And I'm not saying this because Mr. Sam Highsmith, shout outs to you, brother. He and I are Twitter friends. But I think Highsmith is one of the MVPs of the team right now because he is making TJ Watt so much better and just really enhancing his play. Because, again, you have to pick your poison. Are you going to let Highsmith just fly off and beat you, or is TJ Watt going to do his thing? So I think it's a great combination. I mean, obviously, to me, they're the best tandem in the NFL right now, and I think that's inarguable.
I 100% agree with you, Phil. There's a reason they paid Highsmith to stay on the Steelers.
Oh,
and it is because him and Watt play so well together, and it's because of Highsmith that Watt's able to do what he's able to do. Not to say that Watt wouldn't do it without him. I just don't think he'd do it as often.
Because the thing is, they'd be like, okay, well, now we just put 2 guys on Watt, and we're going to let, Joe Schmo, who was like a 5th-round pick.
Right.
But Highsmith's killing it. He's great.
Yeah.
I got nothing but respect for that man. He's my favorite player on the team right now.
And that's a true Steeler fan take right there. It really is. That's a deep cut, and I love it. I agree. Yeah. Highsmith absolutely makes Watt better, and he may be the unsung hero of the team.
He is, for at least right now. I mean, I would still like to see Minka get his Ryan Clark.
Sure.
So we have our pick,
but we don't have it.
We don't.
So Highsmith it is.
Absolutely.
Fan fact number 3. Mike Tomlin coached a great game. I'll start us off. I 100% agree. I do. The reason Porter was able to get that interception is because Mike Tomlin put him in a position to do that. I think that goes back to what Mike Tomlin sees in practice at 7 shots. He knows that Porter, given that specific scenario, had a great shot at coming up with a pick, and he did. Mike Tomlin called the block. So when we got that block punt for the safety, that was Mike Tomlin's call. And I think that goes back to practice. I also think that we concentrated so much on creating fumbles. Tomlin saw something in the tape that said, this team is very prone to fumbles. Go for the fumbles. Go for the fumbles. So, I can't give credit to Tomlin on the last play. We've covered that. But I can give credit to Tomlin for coaching a great game. And I think it's the same thing. We don't want to give Tomlin his flowers either. But this week I'm giving Tomlin his flowers. And guess who's back on the Tomlin bus?
I'm going to stick to my guns, and I'm going to keep it short and sweet. He's a great motivator. You'll know how I feel about him. Is what it is.
That's fair. Let's go with fan fact number 4, Phil. And that is the Steelers didn't win. The Ravens lost.
And that has been the theme through all 3 of our wins. I think it's more glaring with the Browns and the Ravens. because Deshaun Watson had the worst game of his career by far. Once again, because our tandem of Highsmith and Watt were just making his life a living hell.
Right.
But you look at the Raiders game, it's like when the Raiders had that, was it third quarter, I think? We talked about it last week. I think it was third quarter. They had that drive, and they were they opted to go for it.
Yeah.
They opted to go for it on fourth down instead of kick the field goal and give themselves time to get in position to possibly win the game. That was a bad coaching decision, and it still felt close the entire time. And then this game, outside of one great call from Matt Canada and a tremendous throw by our boy.
Not even playing today.
Yeah. We very... Oh, and a terrible coaching job by John Harbaugh, by the way. It's not good. We're every win has been a battle, and it shouldn't be like that, especially when, last week you should have won, I won't say handily, but you should have won decently.
The Steelers didn't win, the Ravens lost. I'm going to agree with it. I really am. I think that, they had, 7 dropped passes, 2 of those for touchdowns.
Hey, I want to do an impression for you real quick.
Go ahead.
Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers. I won't do the impression of TJ Watt to Zay Flowers.
Yes.
But they had 7 drop passes, 4 fumbles, 2 were recovered by the Steelers. And on top of that, the Steelers only had 6 points of offense going into the half.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like you're beating anyone.
No.
We stayed in it because the defense, sure.
That's
But
the thing.
it's also because the Ravens were dropping balls. Because Lamar Jackson wasn't able to make those reads. And when he did make the reads, his receivers, even if they were open, weren't able to execute.
When he was using his feet, he was gaining ground. When he stopped using his feet, that's when they were not gaining ground.
Right. If you did, yeah.
Yeah. So, but, I mean, you challenge the defense, and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Especially against, the
Is it a winning recipe going forward? That might be a problem. We can't expect the defense to win us every game this way. They did this time, and they've done it, I think, the past, all of our wins, really.
All of our wins.
Yeah,
it's been all defense. It's been one tremendous Kenny Pickett play, and the defense playing how we expect them to play.
Which brings me to maybe a little more of a deep cut for Steelers fans. I've been thinking about how our teams, Tomlin coach teams, are always mediocre the past couple of years. 9-8, 8-8, and it's always, to me, I'm thinking, we always only have one half of a team.
Yep.
We always only have a great defense or a great offense.
Mm-hmm.
So if one of those two sides doesn't play well, we're gonna lose. I mean, the last time we had a full complete team, in my opinion, was the Killer Bees era. When we went to the AFC Championship, all the Bees were injured and we didn't win it. But that to me is
next year they weren't, and we were out in the first round.
So, so I guess we'll leave it there.
I want to piggyback on this point really quick though, because it just brought something to my mind. Is that the issue? I think is that while you're right about having the 50, and that's absolutely true. I 100% agree with Damien there. It's you look at when we had the Killer Bees, that offense was so predicated on all 3 of them having to have a lights out game, and if they didn't, we were losing. And granted, all the talent was there, so obviously there was going to be very rare that they were off, but they all run in synergy, and I think you're kind of seeing the same thing on the defensive side of the ball now too. It's they all
absolutely
Minka, Highsmith,
absolutely
TJ all have to be working together, and if they don't, you're going to get a game like the
Ravens. That's what I'd like to
Texans.
see. I mean, and I've resigned myself to. We're not going to get rid of Canada. This is going to be the team. So going forward, I would like to see us try to start creating that offensive synergy. We have a defense to create a complete team. Right now we don't have it.
We don't.
And I think it shows in our scores and our margins of wins and our way of wins.
It's coming down to the key players have to execute, and if they don't, then it's we don't have the reserves that can just
we don't have the reserves.
That could be today I'm going to be the guy. Today is my day. So
I mean, when it comes down to it, the Steelers didn't win. The Ravens lost, but a win's a win.
And we're 3-2.
And
we're top of the division.
On top of the division.
Going into the bye week, nobody had that. So, you know what?
You know who didn't have that? Donnie Blana!
Mark it down!
Let's see what he's got this week from Mark It Down!
Thanks, Damien. I'm Donnie Blonox, and welcome back to Mark It Down. Sponsored by Steelers Nation West and Big Jim's Down the Run. You come into Big Jim's Down the Run after a Steelers win and order the homemade stuffed shells and you'll get a complimentary pack of Newports, whether Joe Biden likes it or not. Gay Pride lasts an entire month, but there's only one bye week, and the Steelers and I will appropriately be spending it in Tinseltown. Coming off the bye week, the Steeler fans are going to be going nuts. They don't just travel there, they live there. And they didn't get up early to tailgate, they haven't slept yet. If you ain't ever been to a Steelers tailgate, then you never had Dermonti Dawson pouring you and your friend's mouth some Fireball straight out the bottle. Mark it down. And make sure you arrive at Crypto Stadium early because it's going to be a party. Ever since the Rams won the Super Bowl, they've climbed the power rankings, and now they're the 5th favorite team of Los Angeles. Even the Jumbotron tries to kind of figure out who's highest? The away team's highest. And the Los Angeles Rams know how to build a great team. And this year, that team is called the Detroit Lions. But the Steelers will blow this one. 35-21. Puka Nakua. What a wonderful phrase. Why would you ask? The same problem I found at Deja Vu Strip Club in Hollywood. Even though they should, nobody is covering the slot. Market time.
Steelers Nation West.